Hello everyone and welcome back to JB's Total Gaming, where today I'm going to be taking a look at Forced Showdown. So Forced Showdown is a roguelite game where you're kind of playing in a game show, similar to like Running Man, for those of you old enough to remember the book and or film. And here you're going to go into arenas and try to defeat things and get the bosses and eventually finish the entire arena, which unlocks other more difficult arenas. So I'm going to talk a little bit about progression before we actually get into the game. There's a lot of progression within the game that you'll actually see, but the overall progression is done in part by these quests. So you see, here we are, quests that we can finish in the Crucible that we've done, and some that we still, well, we have to finish Crucible, and this one we don't know what it is yet, and then we can get to other things as we go. And then we get certain bonuses, like health bonuses, or bonuses for our companions, or things like that, or gold. And we use gold to go to the fortune wheel here, and we'll give it a spin and see what we get. And usually what we're going to get here is cards. Now in this case we actually got some shards that we can use in order to build cards, which is pretty cool. That's actually the first time that I've gotten that. But as you go through, you can unlock more cards, and we'll go real quickly into the cards so that you can see what that's like. For each character, you can build a deck. You can build multiple different decks depending on how you want to set up. And basically, these will allow you to get different things at the start of each round of the arena, and we'll see how that works. So this isn't a card game. It is, a battling game where we're going to have a lot of action. It is kind of, sort of, I guess, a sequel to the game Force, which was a multiplayer game where everybody's going into kind of like arena with traps and things like that, but it was cooperative, and it was very different than that. But let's go ahead into the arena so you can see how things work. There are 3 of the 4 characters I have unlocked right now and 2 different companions. So this guy fires this kind of ray of light. He's the only kind of range character that I have out of the 3, and it gets more intense, and then each character, kind of like a MOBA or whatever, has these different special abilities that you can use the buttons for. So this guy's a melee character that has like a smash attack and a twirling attack or whatever, and then this guy I just unlocked and I played with. This guy was my most recent run, and I really enjoyed it. I've only played with him once. I may not be great, but we'll try it out. So he's also a melee character, but he can like leap in and slash through, and he has this thing called Frenzy. Whenever he hits stuff, that builds up and allows him to do more stuff, and then it allows him to attack more quickly. But we'll go ahead and check that out. There's also 2 different companions. This guy's melee guy is a little bit tougher. He has some lifesteal. This guy has some less hit points, but he attacks from a distance and does decent damage. We're going to use him and go into the arena and see how things work. Now, like I said, there is a game show sort of theme to this game, and you'll see it, as we have an announcer and kind of the display here that you'll probably skip through eventually after starting the game enough times. But you have this thing where you're trying to get through all these different arenas and eventually finally get to the last boss. I've been playing for a little while today, and so far I've gotten to the 3rd arena, basically, the 3rd sections of arenas, but not to the final boss just yet. So how these work is you have to complete 2 of these to unlock a section and then fight one of the bosses. And you'll have to go through 3 of these total sections, basically. And then you can see, I'm kind of bummed it doesn't tell you what these things are. But after you try each of them out, you'll be able to figure what all these are. So basically, these are going to give us different rules in order to do our run. So fluctuations will give us a variance on what our cards will cost. Either 1 mana up or 1 mana down. So what do these cards do? Well, at the beginning of every round of the arena, you get mana, and then in the second round you'll get 2, so on and so forth. And then you'll be able to spend these cards. So here you can see these cards in green, they've been basically lowered by 1 mana, so this usually costs 2. So now let's go ahead and keep all these ones that have been lowered by 1. So we get to mulligan cards, and then when we start, here are the cards we have available. This is the first round of this arena. You can see in the upper left here how many rounds we have to get through in order to fight a boss. And since we have 1 mana and a card that costs 1, we'll go ahead and use it. So this is a consumable. Basically, there's character upgrades or spells and consumables. So that we can use these to throw out these bombs on characters. So now we're all set to go. And let's get started. So this guy, whenever he hits stuff, he gets these, you see those marks above his head, which gives him more fury, which lets him do bonuses on special abilities or things like that. And then he can dive down and slide through. He's got quite a few cool abilities, so we'll use this R ability. And you can see we'll attack super quick, which is nice. let's go ahead and finish these guys off, and then there, we finished the first arena. So our companion actually died. You can see our companion's health here, but it's no big deal. Our companion will come back in the next arena, and here we can hit 1 to do our consumables as well. So we're going to try to get through all of these and try to get to a boss. Now, one thing that's kind of neat about this game is you kind of level up really quickly. So as you unlock all of these abilities, then you will, get better and better as you go through, and they can definitely stack. You can have multiple cards do the same thing. So for example, I had a run a little while ago where I had a card that let one of my special abilities do more damage, and then another card that when I used that ability, it waited a few seconds and it did it again, which was really sweet. And then another card that did the same thing, so that whenever I used that ability, it actually triggered 3 times and did extra damage all the time. So you can get together nice little combos, and there is a deck building component to the game. So I really like this card, and we've been really lucky. Most of our cards have actually been lowered in mana, so this gives us kind of a random thing with reduced cost. So we have 3 mana, so do we just want to, yeah, you know what, I really like this, so we're going to get this. So those checks above our head are frenzy, that's how this character works. We'll go ahead and pick this, and actually, if you want to stick around or even at some point jump ahead to later in the video, I think I will try out another character just so you can see some differences in the characters. We're going to play with this guy for a little while, so you can see that as you play the game, you're very quickly leveling up. Now these level ups that we get, they only trigger for this arena. Now what do I mean by that? So eventually we'll get through this section and fight the boss of this arena, and then all of that will reset. So we are getting abilities really, really quickly, which is nice, but then they also go right away pretty quickly. However, what the overall game show, if you will, does is you can collect points during the show that unlock certain boons. And then those boons will stay with you throughout the entire run. Now, and then you also have the overarching thing with the quest where you can get small bonuses that you'll have throughout the entire game every run you go into automatically. So let's see here. We have 4 mana. Let's see here. What do we want to do? Yeah, this is kind of nice. Yeah, we'll save that for later. So we'll go ahead and use all of our mana and use these 2. And then you see we have 2 different consumable slots here that are set to go. We've used all of our mana, and let's move on. So let's go ahead and get a few stacks going and then jump in and do a bunch of damage. Now these guys, one thing that's interesting about this game is these guys with the yellow health bars, they are optional. You don't actually have to complete them to finish the arena. And I'm not sure if those statues just trigger whenever they get hit or what the deal is, but yeah, I probably shouldn't trigger them if I don't have to. They are very, I don't know, easily triggered. So I had a joke I was going to go there, but I didn't know what the joke really was yet. So let's slash through, finish these guys off, and then I keep forgetting about the R ability, which is nice. Really get in a lot of quick attacks, and then the cooldown is really long for it, but it gets shorter with the more frenzy. So this character is a lot of fun to play. I do like that there's different characters. Let's see here. We can't. This one is great. We can't do that just yet. So I guess we'll go ahead and get this one. And you can build decks like I was showing you in in the deck builder, where you can go for certain builds. You can go for like a critical damage build. You can go for all different things trying to combo off certain abilities. And obviously you're not going to get the exact cards you want to get every time, but you can definitely go for certain themes as you run through. So we're moving along pretty quickly here, and let's see what cards we get. You'll draw 1 card every turn. There are cards that let you draw more cards, so this is great. Just a lot more damage. Now it normally costs 7, so you normally won't be able to use it until near the end of the run, but obviously we're going to choose that card here and then run through, and let's just jump across right away. And wow, there is a lot of guys. So let's get that ability going too. And just see how much damage we can do. Jump in here. Alright. Sorry, stop talking there. It's like there's a lot of guys in here. So alright, we completed that section, and we're getting pretty near the end. And you're probably getting a pretty good impression of how things go. We're already quite a bit, we haven't been playing for very long. We're already quite a bit of a more powerful character than we were before we started around. So we can actually play all of these, so no reason not to. Now, these consumables, I've been kind of... Oh, I guess I can't play that one unless I'm really paying attention. They're nice. I'm probably going to save them until maybe the boss of the level or whatever. But let's go ahead and see if we can get there as quickly as possible. Oh, yeah, we definitely tried that guy. Alright, finish him off. Yeah, I really like this guy as he gets frenzied and does a bunch of attacks. It's very kinetic. The characters definitely do play differently from each other. Like I said, the one you start with is kind of a ranged character, and here we go, Ratbo. So there are several different bosses you can fight. So let's see. Well, gaining 1 mana isn't really going to do us any good, especially for 1 mana. So we'll go ahead and get these bombs. And we've got all kinds of those bombs, so we're going to go ahead and even launch some to start off. Why not? And we're going to come around this side, I think. Maybe even get a little bit of that build up. And then jump in and hit this guy and use that ability to see what we can do here. So let's go ahead and get our guns out as well. And try to stay away from this guy's shots, as you can see our consumable firing off there. And there we go. That was pretty simple. So that's kind of probably enough to give you an idea of how the game works. So we completed this boss, and then we will unlock kind of half of this first section. And once we choose another one of these arenas to run through, then we'll get through here, and then we'll be able to do the arena with our first boss. And here are the boons that I was talking about. So good, we'll be able to see this. We collect enough points to get a boon, and then for the rest of this entire run, we can have plus 20 health, plus the 20 damage to summoned enemies, attack speed, or companion health. I don't know. Either one of these is good. I'm going to go with the health right now. And like I said, that should give you a pretty good impression of how this character plays. I'm going to jump in with another character just to give you a little bit of an idea of how to play. And then as I play that character, talk a little bit about my overall thoughts about the game. Alright, we're back, and I actually managed to beat that run. So we unlocked the second of the 3 arenas with that run, and we also unlocked another character. So this is also a ranged character. It has like chain lightning, knockback, and a passive, and a charged attack. I haven't played with this character yet, so we're going to go with this one just because I've played it before. So this one is going to have kind of a sustained attack, while this guy is going to be more of a traditional archer that can do a charged attack. So let's go ahead and jump into here, and I won't focus too much on the gameplay itself, but actually what I think about the game as I kind of show off another character. So you can see that there are 2 different melee characters and 2 different range characters. So what options do we have here? I haven't done that one. Magnetic weapons I like. Slippery cards isn't bad. Heat wave. Okay. I don't know. Let's go to this one just because I don't know what this one is, and I do want to learn them all. So gain 1 mana for every 25 health missing when entering a card phase, or 25%, and enemies are added. So every time you get a bonus, then there's also a negative to go along with it. So what do I like about the game? I really like the combination of... see, we don't really need mana right now. It might be nice for later, but the combination of kind of intense gameplay and a little bit of strategy with the cards and the deck building, that's pretty cool. So I also like that there's quite a bit of variety. Actually, this is kind of disappointing that this is kind of the same map I think that we were on before. There's like a pirate ship, there's like a swampland with like undead creatures and all different kinds of stuff. So there's quite a bit of variety to the different levels. And overall, I do want to say, when I saw this game initially and saw some video for it, I wasn't really all that impressed by it, but I do have to say, playing the game, it feels better than it looked when I first saw it. I thought the gameplay actually looked kind of boring when I first saw it, but getting into it, it is pretty neat. And you can see this guy charges up and then fires a big blast at the end. It can stay away a little bit further. It definitely plays differently. All 4 of the characters, at least the 3 I've played so far, definitely play differently from each other, and I'm assuming that the ranged guy who's different than this guy is going to play substantially different from him, being an archer, with different abilities rather than this kind of sustained attack that I have here. So a lot of positive things to say about it. Now, on the channel, if you subscribe to the channel, you may have noticed that I've been covering a lot of roguelike games lately. where it's kind of something I've been really into. And this one is probably most similar to Flame Break, which is really one that I think hasn't gotten a lot of coverage, but is one that I really enjoy, and I suggest checking out my video for that if you haven't yet and you're not familiar with it. It's a little bit similar to this, where you're going through different areas and leveling up as you go. I really like the speed with which you level up. It is a little bit awkward, like getting to a point and then like, oh, this is a really neat build, and then you go into the next arena and like you've lost all that. And you have to remember that. It's easy to forget that, like, oh, I don't have that ability I had just a few minutes ago. So very quickly leveling up, the strategy with the cards and all that stuff I really enjoy. Stuff that I don't really enjoy. Now, I mean, the gameplay, it is what it is. I don't know how else to describe it except to say that this is a game that I could see some people getting a little bit bored with over time. There isn't necessarily like an overarching story. The theme, I think it's kind of cool, but it doesn't really add much to the game. So if you're looking for that sort of longevity that some games offer as far as like a story you want to get into or something like that, this may not be it. But this game, if you enjoy the gameplay, it's kind of one of those games that you can definitely jump in, play a game or two of, and play in short sessions, I guess is what I'm saying. Maybe, and I was talking, not really paying attention, just standing in front of that guy who was stabbing me. So that would probably be my biggest knock. But if you do like roguelike gameplay, for $15, I believe this is, really, I definitely think, even in the few hours I've already played it, I've kind of got my money's worth. I picked it up on sale, for a little bit on sale during the Steam Summer sale, and overall I'm pretty satisfied with it. And if you like roguelites and you like this style of game, if you liked Flame Break, then this is one that I can pretty highly recommend. That the card mechanisms add just enough that, especially if you already kind of like strategy games, board games, card games, things like that, it definitely gives you a little something extra. And overall, pretty solid games. Alright, and I thought we'd add on real quick here. So here I've started in the second arena, and you can see that there can be multiple effects when you go into arena, and I figured I'll show off real quick just a different environment real quick, and then another character really quickly, just so you can see some of the variety that I was talking about. You can see that there are two different effects going on here, so I really like both of those. One cost. We have a lot of low cost, so we're in pretty good shape. We'll do shiny next time, but we'll go ahead and get this. So here we have where we can charge up an attack and fire. So that's pretty cool. So that must be like at the full range. So this guy is definitely like more of a sniper character. And then his alternate attack where he can chain lightning, which is pretty cool. And then he can fire pretty quickly, relatively quickly if he wants to, or charge up that big attack. And then he also has a thing that will knock back enemies to give him a little bit of room. So not really trying to play well, just trying to show off some of his abilities here. And then as you can see, this environment is very different than the other environment we saw. And there are several different environments, different bosses. So if you think that the whole idea of roguelites are something you really enjoy and have a lot to offer, even though the gameplay is kind of repetitive, then it may be for you. And if that idea doesn't really interest you, you don't like the same gameplay over and over again, then obviously this is going to be really a choice for you. But I did want to kind of show it off a little bit so you can see a little bit more of the environments and what happens. Ooh, what's this? Chance to block? Okay. So now I will say goodbye again, for real. Again, thanks a lot for watching, and we will talk to you again soon.